So you open your eyes in the morning,
Right.
you reach your hand out to the table next to your bed, and you grab your phone, you open a social media app, and then suddenly 20 minutes are just completely
Oh,
gone.
yeah. It happens so fast.
It really does. You're lying there, watching a video of a cat jumping off a sofa or maybe reading a really stressful news headline, and your brain is already feeling a little bit tired. The
Yeah.
morning is just rushing by and you haven't spoken a single word of English yet. And then the guilt hits you, right? You think, I did it again. I wasted my morning time.
It is such a familiar feeling.
Yeah.
Honestly, we all fall into that trap.
We really do. But today, we're going to fix exactly that. So welcome to the deep dive.
I'm so glad we're tackling this today because, well, this deep dive is incredibly special. We are speaking directly to you.
Yes, you.
You, the English learner listening to us right now, whether you're on a walk or making breakfast.
Exactly. And because we are talking to you, we're going to keep things conversational, clear, and at a really relaxed pace.
Yeah, you definitely don't need a dictionary to listen to us today. You just need to bring your curiosity.
So our mission today is to solve a massive problem. Like, how do you actually make learning English fit into your real everyday life without it feeling like a painful, exhausting chore?
Because learning a language should never feel like a punishment. It shouldn't feel like you're dragging this heavy suitcase around with you all day.
Great, totally.
Whether you are preparing for a big proficiency exam or you just want to feel a little more confident speaking at your job, this deep dive is built entirely around you.
Yeah, we are taking practical, everyday examples and showing you exactly how to apply them.
And we're not talking about abstract theories for next year or something. We are talking about what you're going to do tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning. That is the timeline. So to help us build this plan, we are diving into a really fantastic piece of source material today.
That's a great one.
It's an excerpt from a show called The English Breakfast, Fueling Your Morning Routine. And the guides in this original source, Sarah and Mark, they explore a framework that completely shifts how adults acquire language.
The insights they provide are genuinely transformative.
Yeah.
I mean, the core objective of our conversation today is to pull out the most powerful, actionable strategies from their discussion.
We want to help you build your very own 15-minute English breakfast.
Right. And here is the most crucial part of this entire concept. I really want you to hear this. Stop looking for extra time.
Yes. Oh, please stop.
Just stop pretending that you're suddenly going to find a magical, empty hour in your day. It does not exist.
It really doesn't. You are busy. You have responsibilities, right? Instead of wishing for a 25th hour in the day, we are going to show you how to transform the time you already have.
That is the big shift in mindset right there. It's about efficiency and psychology, not just, working harder.
Exactly. So let's unpack the very first major roadblock our source material identifies. It's that morning scenario I described just a minute ago.
The classic morning mistake.
Yeah, the source calls it the social media black hole. You wake up and you immediately lose 20 minutes to scrolling. You're awake, your eyes are open, but you aren't really making choices.
And what's truly fascinating here is the specific psychological state the source describes during those 20 minutes. They use a brilliant word for it. They call it autopilot.
Autopilot. We usually hear that word when we're talking about airplanes.
Right, exactly. When a pilot turns on the autopilot system, the airplane basically flies itself.
The pilot isn't actively stirring anymore.
No, the machine takes over the routine work. But when we apply this to human behavior, it becomes a little dangerous. When you wake up and instantly grab your phone, you are operating on human autopilot.
Oh, wow.
Your brain's decision-making center, the prefrontal cortex, it hasn't really woken up yet. So a deeper, more primitive part of your brain just takes over and performs a habit.
You're just swiping your thumb on that screen, watching video after video, completely in a mechanical state.
Precisely. You aren't really choosing to watch the cat video. The habit is choosing for you.
Okay, I have to admit, I definitely do this. You're physically awake, but your conscious mind is basically still asleep.
Yeah, and the primary goal of this entire deep dive is to help you move away from that robotic mechanical state. We want to help you transition from being on autopilot to being intentional.
Intentional. That's a great word. If you are intentional, you are awake in every sense of the word. You are making a deliberate choice.
Right. You are saying, I am choosing to do this specific action right now.
But why is it so critical to be intentional in the morning? Why can't I just be on autopilot in the morning and then be intentional about my English practice at night after work?
Well, that is the most common strategy.
Right.
And frankly, it is why so many language learners fail. The source material brings up what they call the 1% battery argument.
The 1% battery. Oh, I know exactly how that feels.
We all do. Think about your personal energy like the battery on your smartphone. By 9 o'clock at night, what has happened?
You've worked all day. You've navigated traffic.
You've made hundreds of decisions at your job. You cooked dinner. You took care of your family. Your internal battery is flashing red. You are literally at 1%.
You're totally drained.
Right. And learning a language, processing new grammar, recalling vocabulary, forming unfamiliar sounds. It requires a significant amount of cognitive energy.
It's hard work.
It is. Trying to force your brain to do heavy lifting when the battery is at 1% is just a recipe for frustration. You read the same sentence 5 times, and you still don't understand it.
Okay, let's pause and really unpack this, because I have a major question here.
Go for it.
I completely understand that studying at 9 o'clock at night is a terrible idea because I am exhausted. But if I sleep for a solid 8 hours and I wake up at 7 in the morning, my personal battery should be at 100% right.
That is the biological reality, yes. You've rested, you are fully charged.
Okay, so if my battery's at 100%, why do I still choose the cat videos?
That's the real question.
Why is it so incredibly hard to use that fresh morning energy for something productive like English? If I have the energy, why don't I use it?
This raises a fundamental truth about human nature and how our brains are wired. Our brains are incredibly efficient, which is really just another way of saying they are a bit lazy.
Lazy brains. I like that.
We naturally take the path of least resistance. Opening a social media app is engineered by thousands of smart developers to be completely frictionless. It requires zero effort.
And it gives you a tiny instant hit of dopamine, right? A chemical reward.
Exactly. English practice, even simple practice, requires a tiny bit of initial effort to start.
It's like a spark. You need to actually strike the match.
Right. And when you first wake up, before you are fully intentional, your brain will always choose the zero effort path.
You know, the source material inspired a really specific image in my head when I was reading it. I want you, the listener, to visualize your morning energy. Imagine it as a glass of completely fresh, perfectly clear water.
Okay, I like where this is going.
It represents your focus for the day. If the very first thing you do when you wake up is pour social media, arguments from the internet, and stressful global news into that glass, the water gets muddy.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
It gets dark and cloudy, your brain feels foggy before you even get out of bed, your focus is ruined.
The mud just takes over.
But if you take that glass of fresh water and you pour just a tiny bit of clear, intentional English practice into it, just a few drops, the water stays crystal clear, and that clear energy fuels the rest of your day.
That is a phenomenal analogy.
Right.
The difference between a muddy brain and a clear brain. And the research completely supports this.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. When you accomplish a small, positive task first thing in the morning, it creates a cascade effect.
Yeah.
You feel capable. You feel successful. You carry that clear water right into your workplace.
But knowing this is only half the battle, isn't it?
It is. Awareness is just step one.
Because I can know that studying at night fails, and I can know that my morning autopilot ruins my clear water. But I am a creature of habit.
We all are.
How do we actually force our brains to do the right thing right after waking up? And how do we do it without feeling completely stressed out? I mean, I don't want to wake up and feel like I'm already taking a difficult exam.
And you shouldn't. That brings us directly to the core psychological strategy recommended by our source material. It's a highly effective B2 level concept that language experts love. It's called habit stacking.
Habit stacking. This is the ultimate answer to the single most common excuse I hear from English learners. And honestly, it's an excuse I use myself for other things all the time.
What's the excuse?
I really want to practice, but I just forget.
Oh, yeah.
People tell me all the time, I have the best intentions, but my morning gets crazy, I get busy, and I simply forget to do my English.
And we shouldn't judge that because it is a very real, very human problem. When you try to create a brand new routine out of thin air, you are relying entirely on two things, your memory and your willpower.
And both of those are terribly unreliable.
Exactly. Your memory fails because you get distracted by life. Your willpower fails because, as we discussed, your brain prefers the path of least resistance.
Right.
But habit stacking bypasses both of those problems completely. The source uses a really elegant analogy here.
Yes. The Lego blocks. I think this is such a helpful way to visualize it. We all know those little plastic toy bricks.
Right, everyone's played with them.
You snap one block directly on top of another block to build something.
The genius of the habit stacking concept is that you do not try to create new time.
Which is such a relief.
It really is. You do not set your alarm clock for 5 a.m. if you hate waking up early. That requires too much willpower.
Yeah.
Instead, you look closely at your existing morning routine. You look for an old habit.
An old habit being something you already do every single day automatically without even thinking about it.
Precisely. You already brush your teeth. You already turn on the coffee machine. You already put on your shoes before you walk out the door.
You don't need a reminder app for those things.
No, you don't need an alarm to tell you to put on your shoes. You just do it. It is a permanent fixture in your day. That old habit is your bottom Lego block.
It's a solid foundation.
So the strategy is to take your old habit, the bottom block, and stack a tiny new English habit, the top block, right on top of it. You glue them together in your mind.
Let's look at the specific, real-world examples from the text because they make the theory so practical. Here's the first one. Think about making your morning coffee or tea.
Yeah.
While you were standing there in your kitchen waiting for the water to boil or the coffee to brew, what are you usually doing?
Well, most people are just staring blankly at the wall or, again, looking at their phones.
Right. That waiting period is a built-in old habit, so you stack the new habit right there. The new rule is, while I wait for my coffee to brew, I will learn exactly one new English word.
That's a perfect stack.
Coffee brews, I learn one word.
Well, let's look at another one from the source. Putting on your shoes. You cannot leave your house without doing this. It is an unavoidable old habit.
Very.
The source suggests this stack. While I am tying my shoelaces, I will say one sentence out loud about my upcoming day.
For instance, today I'm going to finish the financial report.
Exactly. These examples are brilliant because they highlight a word the source uses very deliberately. That word is realistic.
Realistic is definitely the key to longevity in language learning. Let's explore that.
Please do.
When we say a plan is realistic, we mean it actually fits into the messy reality of your life. It isn't a dream.
Right.
Saying, I'm going to wake up 2 hours early and read dense English literature with a dictionary is a beautiful fantasy, but it is not realistic for a busy parent or a tired professional.
It's an illusion. And when you fail to meet that unrealistic goal on day 2, you feel terrible about yourself. You feel like a failure.
But learning one single word while the coffee drips, that fits perfectly into real life. It takes 0 extra minutes out of your day.
And this realistic approach is exactly what prevents English from feeling like heavy, stressful homework.
Nobody likes homework.
Nobody. When something feels like school homework, our natural instinct is to procrastinate. We avoid it. Which brings us to a very critical emotional concept discussed in the text.
Yes, a feeling that destroys progress. The feeling of being overwhelmed.
Oh, this is such an important state of mind to understand. Being overwhelmed.
The source material is very accurate in how it describes this. Feeling overwhelmed isn't just a thought, it's a physical sensation.
It really is. It's that feeling in your chest when you have way too much to do. Your heart beats a little faster. You feel sort of panic, like you are carrying a massive weight and your legs are going to collapse.
Sometimes you feel so overwhelmed you literally just want to cry and go back to sleep.
Yes. Think about the traditional way people try to study. You buy a massive textbook. You open it up, and you see a list of 500 advanced vocabulary words that you were supposed to memorize.
Just looking at that list makes me anxious.
Right. Your brain looks at that mountain of information, and the alarm bells go off. The feeling of that massive list crushing you, that is being overwhelmed.
So what does this actually mean for us as learners? Like, what happens in the brain?
It means cognitive shutdown. When you feel overwhelmed, your brain basically freezes. The stress hormones block your ability to absorb new information.
Wow.
You look at the list of 500 words, you feel the panic, and you decide to do absolutely nothing. You close the book and open social media instead to escape the bad feeling.
But habit stacking is like a magic trick. It completely tricks your brain's alarm system.
How simple.
Because the task is so incredibly tiny. Just one word while you hold your coffee cup or one sentence while you tie your shoe, your brain doesn't panic.
It feels completely safe.
Right. Your brain looks at the task and says, oh, just one word. I can do that. That's easy.
The alarm bells never ring. You bypass the overwhelmed feeling entirely.
Which brings us to a core philosophy from the text. It's an idiom, a phrase with a deeper meaning. The idiom is, small steps add up.
Small steps add up. This is the secret to mastering literally any complex skill.
If you stand at the bottom of a giant mountain and try to jump to the top in one single leap, you will fail. You will probably hurt yourself.
Definitely.
But if you take one small, boring, regular step today, and another step tomorrow, and another step the next day, those tiny steps accumulate. They gather together. Over time, they add up to a massive distance.
Let's do the math on that. 1 word a day while your coffee brews. That seems like nothing, right?
It feels like nothing.
But that is 365 words in a year.
That is a massive amount of vocabulary. You are building a huge structure out of Lego blocks, but you are only carrying one tiny plastic piece at a time. It never feels heavy.
Exactly. It's sustainable progress.
Okay, so the strategy is crystal clear. We know we need to avoid the nighttime battery drain. We know we need to stack habits like Legos to stop our brains from feeling overwhelmed and shutting down.
Right.
But now we need the practical details. What exact blocks should you be stacking? What are the actual actions you should be doing with your English in those tiny morning moments?
This is where the source material gets incredibly practical. They outline a 4-step routine. This is the actual English breakfast.
Let's hear it.
The 4 pillars are listen, speak, write, and review. We need to dissect each one carefully to understand why they work.
Perfect. Let's start with step 1, listen. The instruction here is to listen to English while you do something physical, like brushing your hair, washing your face, or eating your breakfast toast.
Sounds easy enough.
But the source gives a very strict warning about what kind of audio you should choose. They insist it must be refreshing.
Refreshing is the perfect adjective here. Think about what refreshing means physically. A cold glass of water after a long run is refreshing.
A cool breeze on a hot summer day is refreshing.
Right. It means something that clears your mind and gives you a sense of positive energy.
So the source suggests an engaging story, an audiobook you enjoy, or a fun educational conversation like this deep dive. But here is the critical warning. They explicitly tell you, do not listen to the morning news in English.
Yes, that is a big one.
Why? I always thought watching the news was the best way to learn a language.
It's a very common misconception. Watching the news can be good for advanced vocabulary, sure, but doing it first thing in the morning is a huge psychological mistake.
Why is that?
Think about the nature of the daily news. What are the headlines usually about? Economic crises, political arguments, natural disasters, crime.
It's inherently negative.
The news is inherently negative and stressful. It's designed to make you worry.
That's true.
When you wake up and immediately listen to stressful, frightening topics, your body releases a stress hormone called cortisol. Now imagine you were a B1 or B2 learner.
Sure.
You are already using mental energy to translate the English. Add the stress of the bad news on top of that.
Muddy water. You are muddying the water immediately.
Precisely. Subconsciously, your brain begins to associate the sound of the English language with the feeling of anxiety and stress. You are accidentally training your brain to dislike English.
That is such a vital insight. So the goal of step 1 isn't to take a difficult listening comprehension test. You don't need to understand every single word the speaker is saying.
Not at all.
The goal is just to let the natural rhythm, the melody, and the pleasant sounds of English gently flow into your ears while you eat your toast. It's a gentle warm-up.
Exactly. It prepares the brain for the next step, which requires a bit more active participation.
Right. Step 2, speak. Now, I know my audience. I know exactly what many of you listening are feeling right now.
The panic is setting in.
As soon as I said the word speak, your stomach tied in a knot. You felt that familiar wall of fear.
The source material actually addresses this exact fear directly.
It does. The fear is a voice in your head that says, my English isn't perfect yet. I make grammar mistakes with the past tense. I have a strong accent from my native language. Therefore, I shouldn't open my mouth.
I will wait until I am perfectly fluent, and then I will start speaking.
Yes. That is the most dangerous trap in language learning. The idea that perfection must come before practice. I want to push back against that fear right now, using the logic from our text. The source uses a very simple biological fact. They say, if you don't use your muscles, they get weak.
It's an undeniable truth of anatomy.
I really want our listeners to think about this. We often treat language like it's just a mental puzzle, like it's just a math problem happening inside our brains.
We think if we memorize enough grammar rules, we will suddenly be able to speak.
But language is not just a mental test. It is a physical sport.
A physical sport. Explain that further for us.
Think about what happens when you speak. You have to move your tongue to a very specific position. You have to shape your lips. You have to push air through your vocal cords in a precise way.
Right.
Those are all physical muscles. English requires you to make physical shapes with your mouth that your native language might never use.
The TH sound, for example.
Exactly. Putting your tongue between your teeth to say the feels physically strange if you've never done it. If you want to run a marathon, you don't sit on your couch and read a book about how to move your legs.
You have to go outside and physically move them.
Right. If you want to speak English, you cannot just read a textbook. You have to physically train your mouth muscles to make the shapes.
So how does the source recommend we do this physical training safely in the morning without feeling embarrassed?
They suggest a fantastic, incredibly safe action. They call it the mirror exercise.
The mirror exercise. Tell us about that.
You walk into your bathroom, you stand in front of the mirror, you look directly into your own eyes, and you ask yourself one simple question out loud. What is my main goal for today?
Okay.
And then you answer it out loud in English.
So something like, my goal today is to finish the presentation for my boss.
Exactly. Here is why this is so powerful. You are the only person in the room. There is zero judgment.
No native speaker is listening to your accent.
Your teacher isn't correcting your grammar. You are simply taking your mouth to the gym for 30 seconds. You are stretching the muscles.
It builds tremendous psychological confidence. Once you realize you can successfully speak English out loud to your own reflection, the leap to speaking to a colleague on a Zoom call becomes much smaller.
The mental wall just comes down.
It really does.
Okay, so we've listened, we've spoken. Now we move to step 3, right? And again, I can feel the listener pulling back. Right, in the morning, I don't have time to sit down with a pen and paper and write a long academic essay.
And no one is asking you to.
Yeah.
The source introduces what they brilliantly call the lazy way to write.
Now, usually lazy is an insult. It means you don't want to work. But here, the source is using it as a compliment.
Yes, in this context, lazy means finding the smartest, most efficient, lowest effort way to get a fantastic result. You're being economical with your energy.
So, what is the lazy way to write? You use the piece of technology that is already in your hand. You open the Notes application on your mobile phone.
And what do you type?
You type a simple 3-line gratitude list.
Let's make sure the concept of gratitude is clear for everyone. Gratitude is the emotion of feeling thankful. It is pausing for a moment to recognize and appreciate something good in your life, no matter how small.
The text gives a beautiful, very simple example. You open your phone keyboard and you type, I am grateful for this hot coffee. I am grateful for the warm sunshine coming through the window. I am grateful that I am practicing my English today.
3 short lines.
It takes maybe 30 seconds to tap that out with your thumbs.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the underlying psychology here is profound. It goes far beyond just practicing spelling.
How so?
When you type a gratitude list, you are taking abstract, warm, positive feelings from inside your heart, and you're forcing your brain to translate those feelings into English words on a screen.
Oh, wow. You are literally physically linking the English language to your personal happiness.
Precisely. And the source uses a very specific, very important psychological term to describe what happens when you do this. They call it being mindful.
Mindful. Let's make sure we unpack that fully.
To be mindful means to be completely, 100% present in the current moment. You are deeply aware of exactly where you are and what you are doing in this very second.
You aren't stressing about the meeting you have at 2:00 p.m.
No. You aren't feeling angry about an argument you had yesterday. Your entire consciousness is focused on the coffee, the sunshine, and the English words you are typing.
And wait, isn't that the exact opposite of the problem we started with?
Yes, being mindful is the ultimate cure for the autopilot we discussed in Section 1. You cannot be on autopilot if you are mindfully typing out why you are grateful for the sun.
That makes perfect sense.
The mechanical robot brain turns off, and the intentional human brain wakes up. It's a reset button for your morning.
That is brilliant. It's not just language practice, it's mental health practice.
Okay, let's look at the final pillar, Step 4 review.
Mm.
This is the shortest step of the entire routine, but the source suggests it might be the most crucial for long-term memory.
It's all about looking backward to move forward. Exactly. The instruction is very simple. You take your word of the day from yesterday, and you force yourself to use it in a brand new sentence today.
They provide a clear example for this. Imagine the word you learned yesterday morning while your coffee was brewing was consistent.
Consistent, meaning doing something the same way over a period of time. Not doing it once and quitting, but doing it regularly.
So today, You review that word by saying a new sentence out loud while you are getting ready. You say, I will be consistent with my English breakfast routine.
Why is this one little sentence so important?
It's about how the brain stores data. When you learn a word once, your brain creates a very fragile, tiny connection.
Like a thin thread.
Yes. If you never use that word again, the brain assumes it's garbage. It throws the word away to make room for new information.
That's why we forget so quickly.
Exactly. But by forcing yourself to use the word the very next day in a new context, you send a strong signal to your brain. You say, hey, don't throw this in the trash. I still need this tool.
It thickens the connection. So let's look at the whole picture. Listen, speak, write, review. 4 simple steps.
Let's recap them.
You listen while eating toast. You speak to the mirror. You type 30 seconds of gratitude on your phone. You review one word. It is a perfectly mindful, completely calm, 15-minute routine that requires 0 extra time.
It sounds like an ideal way to start the day.
It does sound ideal. It sounds beautiful, but I have to push back here.
I was waiting for this. Please do.
Because I know exactly what you, our listener, might be thinking right now. You are listening to us talk about this peaceful, mindful morning with coffee and sunshine, and you are laughing.
They probably are.
You are thinking, that is a lovely fairy tale, but my morning is not calm. My morning is an absolute disaster.
Real life is rarely a perfect Instagram picture.
Exactly. What happens when your morning is not quiet? What if you have 3 small children running around the kitchen, screaming and spilling cereal on the floor?
That's a lot to handle.
What if the dog is barking? What if you have a terrible, stressful 1-hour commute to work in heavy traffic? What happens when the messy reality of life crashes right into your perfect little Lego blocks?
That is the daily reality for millions of people. And thankfully, the source material does not ignore this. They don't pretend life is perfect. They explicitly acknowledge the mess. They state very clearly, chaos is real.
Chaos. That is a great B2 level word. When a situation is in chaos, it means there is complete confusion and disorder. There are no rules, there is no peace. It is just noise, movement, and stress.
So when your morning is full of chaos, how do you survive? The source offers a brilliant survival strategy. They introduce a phrase that changes everything: hidden pockets of time.
Hidden pockets. I love the visual image of this. Think about a big winter coat. Sometimes you put your hand deep inside the coat, behind the lining, and you find a secret little pocket you didn't even know was there.
Right. Maybe you find a coin inside.
Exactly. The text is suggesting that even your most chaotic, stressful schedule has secret little pockets of time hidden inside of it.
They define these hidden pockets as the small, unavoidable moments of waiting that happen to all of us, no matter how busy we are.
Let's apply this concept to some very specific real-world problems.
Let's do it.
Let's take scenario A from the text. Your morning is chaotic, and now you are standing on a very crowded public bus or a subway train on your way to work. You are surrounded by tired strangers. You are packed in tightly.
In that scenario, you obviously cannot do step 2 of the routine. You cannot look in a mirror and speak English out loud. If you stand in the middle of a quiet, crowded bus and start loudly announcing your daily goals in English, people are going to think you are crazy.
They will definitely move away from you. It's socially impossible.
So what do you do with that hidden pocket of time while you stand on the bus? You adapt, you pull out your headphones, you put them in your ears, and you do step 1, listen.
You let the refreshing English audio flow into your mind while you stand quietly among the strangers. You found a pocket.
Perfect. Now let's look at scenario B. You are not on a bus. You are driving your own car to work, and you are stuck in terrible, slow-moving traffic.
This happens to me all the time.
In this scenario, you absolutely cannot do step 3. You cannot open the Notes app on your phone and try to type a gratitude list while operating a vehicle. That is incredibly dangerous.
Yes, please, everyone listening, keep your hands on the wheel and your eyes on the road.
But look at the reality of the situation. You have a hidden pocket of time while you are sitting at that red traffic light. Your hands are busy, your eyes are busy, but your mouth is completely free.
So you shift to step 2, speak.
You talk to yourself in the car.
Exactly. You look out the windshield and you describe your environment out loud in English. You say, the sky is very gray today. It looks like rain. There's a large red truck stopped in front of me. I see a man walking a brown dog on the sidewalk.
If we connect this to the bigger picture of language acquisition, what the source is really teaching us here is a massive lesson about the word flexible.
Flexibility is perhaps the most important characteristic of a successful language learner.
Think about a piece of hard plastic. It is rigid. If you try to bend it, it snaps and breaks.
But a rubber band is flexible. You can pull it, you can stretch it, and it changes its shape to fit whatever you need to wrap it around. It never breaks.
Changing your learning plan to fit the messy, chaotic situation around you is what true mastery looks like. You stretch your routine, you don't break it.
But I have to ask you a tough question, and I am asking this on behalf of our listeners who are truly exhausted by life right now.
Go ahead.
If my house is completely chaotic and the children are crying and I am late for work and I look at my watch and realize I only have exactly 2 free minutes, is it even worth doing? Should I just say, you know what, I failed today. I will try again tomorrow when I have more time?
The source provides a very direct, very firm answer to that question. Yes, it is worth doing. 2 minutes of English practice is infinitely better than 0 minutes of English practice.
Who is greater than zero?
Always. Every single time. There is a very famous saying that the text references to explain this psychological trap. The saying is, don't let perfect be the enemy of good.
I want everyone listening to pause and let that sink in. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good.
So often, we refuse to do something because we know we cannot do it perfectly. We tell ourselves a story. We think, I don't have a perfect 15-minute window. I don't have a quiet, beautiful room with sunshine. My coffee is cold. Therefore, I won't do any English at all.
That is a terrible, destructive mistake.
It is. You do not need a perfect room. You do not need absolute silence. All you need is the willingness to make a good, imperfect attempt every single day, even if it is only for 2 minutes while staring at a red traffic light.
Because doing it for 2 minutes proves something to your brain. It proves your identity. It proves that you are a person who learns English no matter what.
Exactly. It's about identity, not just vocabulary.
That is incredibly encouraging. We have seen how to adapt these Lego block habits into literally any schedule, no matter how chaotic or loud your morning might be. Now, to make absolutely sure that the lessons from today's deep dive actually stick in your memory, we are going to do something special.
Yes, we are going to follow the fantastic example set by the original source material. At the end of their discussion, Sarah and Mark lead their listeners through what they call a word walk.
A word walk. This is a dedicated moment to review the most important, useful B2 level vocabulary we have used throughout our conversation today. The source highlights 4 specific words or phrases, and we're going to walk through them together right now.
But we aren't going to read you a boring dictionary definition. We are going to explore how they feel in action to ensure that you, our listener, fully grasp them.
Let us begin the word walk. The first word is intentional.
Intentional. Let's look at the exact sentence from the source. I want to be more intentional with how I spend my first hour of the day.
Think about what it feels like to be intentional. You wake up, and instead of letting your hand fall onto your phone to scroll social media, you stop. You make a conscious choice.
You say to yourself, I am going to spend 3 minutes listening to English. You turn off the autopilot. You become the pilot of your own mind. You are steering the ship.
You are in control. The second word on our word walk is consistent.
Consistent. The source sentence is, being consistent is more important than being fast. Do a little every day.
This goes directly back to the idea of the mountain. You don't need to learn 100 complex grammar rules in 1 hour, feel exhausted, and then do nothing for an entire month.
That burst of speed doesn't work.
Being consistent means doing the small, boring thing, placing the tiny Lego block every single morning without stopping. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, raining or sunny, you are consistent.
Moving to our third word, which represents that heavy, panicky, emotional feeling we want to avoid. Overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed. The sentence from the text is one we can all relate to. I felt overwhelmed by the long vocabulary list, so I decided to only learn 3 words today.
Remember that physical feeling we discussed? Looking at a massive textbook and wanting to give up because the mountain is too tall? That is feeling overwhelmed.
And the cure for being overwhelmed is to shrink the task. Take the massive mountain and break it down into 3 small words. Instantly, the heavy feeling disappears. The panic fades.
Which flows absolutely perfectly into the final item on our word walk, which is actually a phrase. The phrase is, small steps add up.
Small steps add up. The final guiding sentence from the source is, don't worry if your progress feels slow. Remember, small steps add up to big changes.
This is the entire philosophy of habit stacking.
1 tiny word while the coffee machine runs. 1 short sentence out loud while putting on your winter boots. 30 seconds of typing a gratitude list on your phone.
In the moment, those steps feel tiny. They feel almost too small to matter.
But over a year, over 2 years, they add up to a completely transformed ability to speak and understand English.
It is the mathematical truth of language learning. Consistency always beats intensity.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting. The source material does not just end with a nice vocabulary review. It ends with a direct challenge to the listener. And we are going to issue that exact same challenge directly to you right now.
We don't want you to just listen to us passively. We want you to actively participate in your own learning process today.
Right now, as you are listening to my voice, I want you to look at your own personal morning routine. I want you to identify your own old habit. What is something you do every single morning without fail, no matter how tired you are? And then I challenge you to create your new English stack.
The source gives a great template for building this challenge. Fill in the blanks of this sentence. While I do old habit, I will do new English stack.
For example, while I wait for the bus, I will review 3 English phrases.
What is yours? Is it, while I brush my teeth, I will listen to an English podcast?
Is it, while I wait for the train, I will read 1 paragraph of a news article? We want you to build your personal blueprint right now. Decide what your 2 Lego blocks are going to be tomorrow morning.
Because if you make the decision right now, today, you are already being intentional. You're already turning off the autopilot before you even go to sleep tonight.
We have covered so much vital ground in this deep dive. Let's take a quick moment to look back at the journey we have just taken together.
We started by identifying the hidden danger of the morning, that mechanical, mindless autopilot that pulls us into the social media black hole and completely wastes our freshest, clearest energy.
We realized that trying to study when our battery is at 1% late at night is a failing strategy.
Yes, we want to keep our morning water clear. Then we learned the psychology of habit stacking. We learned how to avoid the paralyzing, heavy feeling of being overwhelmed by acting like we are building with tiny Lego blocks.
We realized we don't need to invent new time, we just stack new habits onto old habits that already exist in our brain.
From there, we dissected a highly practical, mindfulness-based 15-minute routine, the 4 pillars.
Listen to refreshing audio to gently wake up the brain. Speak to the bathroom mirror to train the physical mouth muscles without judgment.
Write a 30-second gratitude list on your phone to connect English with positive feelings and defeat the autopilot. And review 1 word from yesterday to tell your brain the information is important.
And perhaps most importantly, we learned that we do not need a perfect, quiet, beautiful morning to do this. We learned to embrace flexibility.
When the chaos of real life happens, when the kids are screaming and the traffic is stopped, we look for those hidden pockets of time.
2 minutes at a red light is always better than 0 minutes. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good.
It is a complete, realistic, psychologically sound system for any language learner, regardless of how chaotic their daily life might be.
It truly is. But as we finish our deep dive today, I want to leave you with one final, slightly different thought to explore on your own. It's something that builds on everything we have discussed, but takes it in a brand new direction.
I am always intrigued by these final thoughts.
We have spent all this time talking about the morning, the fresh water, the start of the day. We have seen how habit stacking can wake up our English brains so beautifully using just those tiny 2-minute hidden pockets of time.
Right.
But I want you to think about the absolute opposite end of the day. Think about your bedtime routine. What if you took this exact same Lego block strategy and applied it right before you go to sleep?
Oh, that is a fascinating angle, exploring the end of the day.
Think about it. What is an old habit you have at night? Maybe your old habit is simply reaching out your hand to turn off the lamp next to your bed.
A very common old habit.
What if you stacked a tiny 2-minute English habit right there on top of turning off the light? Maybe you listen to 1 short, calm English poem.
Or maybe you whisper 1 positive English phrase to yourself in the dark, right as the light goes out.
Exactly. If you feed your brain that tiny bit of clear English water right before sleep, how might your brain subconsciously process, organize, and remember that language all night long while you were dreaming?
Neuroscience suggests that sleep is when we consolidate our memories. So that implies that the power of habit stacking doesn't just apply to waking up the brain, but also can how the brain stores information while we rest. It is a very provocative question for our listeners to mull over tonight.
Try the morning routine first, of course. Get those morning Lego blocks stacked, but keep that bedtime idea in the back of your mind as you progress. To you, our listener, we want to say a massive thank you for spending this time with us today. Thank you for choosing to be intentional with your time and for listening to this deep dive.
You are doing a wonderful job on your language journey. The simple fact that you are listening to us right now, engaging with these ideas, proves that you are intentional and dedicated to your growth.
Exactly. Building a language takes time, patience, and flexibility. But always remember the core truth we explored today. Small steps add up. Take that first small step tomorrow morning. Keep going, keep breathing, and keep speaking. We are incredibly proud of your progress, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.